Welcome back to Days of Our Lives channel. Today we will learn about the explosive developments surrounding Tony Dimmer's masterful scheme to reclaim his family's empire. While Salem's most talked about couples navigate treacherous romantic waters that could either bind them together forever or tear them apart completely, Tony Dimmer's corporate warfare strategy unveiled. The Dimera patriarch's son has been meticulously orchestrating what industry insiders are calling the most sophisticated corporate takedown in Salem's business history. Tony's elaborate plan to wrestle Dimera Enterprises from Titan's iron grip represents far more than a simple business acquisition. It's a deeply personal crusade to restore his father Stefano's legendary legacy to its rightful place within the Dimera dynasty. Sources close to the situation reveal that Tony has been secretly coordinating with key allies, including the cunning Gabby Hernandez, who brings her own burning desire for revenge against Xander and Philip's corporate machinations. The sophisticated nature of Tony's strategy becomes apparent when examining his methodical approach to dismantling Titan's hostile takeover. Rather than pursuing conventional legal channels, Tony has chosen to wage psychological warfare, targeting the emotional vulnerabilities of his opponents while simultaneously building an unshakable legal foundation for his claims. His recent manipulations of various Salem power players demonstrate a calculating intelligence that rivals even his legendary father's most devious schemes. Alex and Stephanie's relationship reaches critical crossroads. The romantic tension between Alex Kyriakis and Stephanie Johnson has reached a fever pitch as Alex prepares to make the most significant gesture of their tumultuous relationship. The moment when Alex ceremoniously hands over his apartment keys represents far more than a simple cohabitation arrangement. It symbolizes his complete transformation from Salem's most notorious playboy into a man genuinely committed to building a lasting partnership with the woman who fundamentally changed his perspective on love and commitment. However, beneath the surface of this romantic milestone lurks a web of complicated emotions and unresolved tensions that threaten to derail their carefully rebuilt relationship. Stephanie's internal struggles with trust, stemming from their previous painful breakup, create an undercurrent of anxiety that both lovers are desperately trying to ignore. Alex's determination to prove his devotion through grand romantic gestures masks his own deep-seated fears about potentially losing Stephanie again, especially given the volatile nature of Salem's interconnected relationships and family feuds. The couple's decision to move in together comes at perhaps the most precarious moment in Salem's recent history, as corporate warfare and family vendettas threaten to engulf everyone in their destructive wake. Their relationship must withstand not only personal challenges but also the external pressures created by the escalating conflict between the Dimera and Kyriakis families. One stormy night press conference descends into chaos. What was intended to be a routine media event quickly transforms into Salem's most dramatic public spectacle in recent memory. The One Stormy Night press conference, originally designed to address community concerns and showcase corporate transparency, becomes the perfect stage for Tony Dimmer's theatrical announcement that sends shockwaves throughout Salem's business community and beyond. The carefully orchestrated media gathering attracts every major player in Salem's power structure, creating a powder keg of competing interests and hidden agendas. As reporters and cameras capture every moment, the atmosphere grows increasingly tense with anticipation. As if everyone present somehow senses that they're about to witness a pivotal moment that will reshape Salem's corporate landscape forever. The chaos that erupts demonstrates Tony's masterful understanding of public relations warfare and his ability to manipulate media attention for maximum impact. His timing proves impeccable, catching both Titan executives and other potential rivals completely off guard while positioning himself as the rightful heir to the Dimera corporate throne. Tony's bombshell legal declaration. When Tony steps before the assembled media representatives, his commanding presence immediately captures everyone's attention, transforming the routine press conference into a declaration of corporate war. His announcement regarding the lawsuit against Titan Industries represents the culmination of months of careful legal preparation and strategic planning, designed to expose what Tony characterizes as Titan's illegitimate seizure of Dimera assets during a period of family vulnerability. The lawsuit itself reveals the depth of Tony's legal research and his comprehensive understanding of corporate law complexities. Rather than simply challenging Titan's acquisition on technical grounds, Tony's legal strategy attacks the fundamental legitimacy of the takeover, arguing that Titan exploited temporary Dimera family crises to execute what amounts to corporate theft. His legal team has apparently uncovered evidence of procedural irregularities and potential conflicts of interest that could invalidate the entire acquisition process. Tony's public declaration serves multiple strategic purposes beyond simply announcing legal action. By choosing such a public forum, he ensures maximum media coverage while simultaneously applying psychological pressure on Titan's leadership. The theatrical nature of his announcement also sends a clear message to Salem's business community that the DiMera family refuses to accept defeat quietly. Tribute to Stefano's enduring legacy. The moment when Tony raises his glass in tribute to Stefano Dimera's portrait represents one of the most emotionally charged scenes in recent days of our lives' history. This ritualistic gesture transcends simple nostalgia, serving as both a promise to his deceased father and a warning to his enemies that the DiMera legacy will not be diminished or forgotten. Tony's reverent acknowledgement of Stefano's portrait transforms the corporate boardroom into a shrine of family honor and determination. The significance of this tribute extends beyond personal sentiment to encompass the broader themes of family loyalty and generational responsibility that define the DiMera dynasty. Tony's words of self-praise following the toast reveal his confidence in his ability to succeed where others have failed, positioning himself as the worthy successor to Stefano's corporate empire and strategic brilliance. Xander and Philip's desperate confrontation. The inevitable confrontation at the DiMera mansion brings together three of Salem's most formidable business minds in a battle of wills that could determine the future of both corporate empires. Xander and Philip's arrival at the mansion demonstrates their recognition that Tony's legal challenge poses a genuine threat to their carefully constructed business alliance and their control over the merged corporate entity. The mansion's setting adds dramatic weight to this crucial confrontation, as the DiMera ancestral home serves as a physical reminder of the family's power and influence throughout Salem's history. Tony's decision to receive his opponents in this symbolic location reinforces his position as the rightful heir to the DiMera legacy while subtly intimidating his visitors with reminders of his family's legendary capabilities. The tension between these three characters reflects broader themes of ambition, family loyalty, and corporate morality that drive much of Salem's ongoing drama. Their confrontation promises to reveal hidden motivations and secret alliances that could reshape not only the corporate landscape but also personal relationships throughout Salem's interconnected community of power players and their families. Part 2. Steve needs Rafe's help. A secret mission with baby Tesoro. On the latest episode of Days of Our Lives, we were treated to a storyline that blended mystery, family loyalty, and the kind of whispered secrets that could easily topple relationships and destroy reputations. For longtime fans, this moment wasn't just about a child's paternity, it was about how far friends and allies will go when the truth is too dangerous to ignore. The stage was set inside Steve Johnson's office, a place that has witnessed its fair share of confidential conversations and heavy decisions. On this day, Steve called in Rafa Hernandez, not as a police officer or public servant, but as a trusted friend and partner in uncovering the truth. The matter at hand, none other than the mysterious case of baby Tesoro and the unsettling questions surrounding the child's true parentage. A serious conversation begins. Steve, always the careful planner, tried to ease into the subject with caution. He sat across from Rafa at his desk, arms crossed, his one good eye narrowing with that familiar mix of suspicion and determination. At first, his words danced around the heart of the matter. He wanted to keep things discreet, cautious not to say too much too quickly. But Rafa, sharp as ever, didn't need long to figure out where this conversation was heading. "Are you talking about Tate Black?" Rafa asked, cutting through Steve's attempt at subtlety. Steve's silence, followed by a slow nod, told Rafa everything he needed to know. The shadow of doubt. "It turns out Tate doesn't have the faintest clue about any of this. He's living his life as though baby Tesoro has nothing to do with him." But Steve revealed that both he and Brady Black have been privately nursing the suspicion that Tate could, in fact, be the child's biological father. Steve explained the situation with a methodical clarity that only he could provide. All the signs, all the little details, seemed to point in the same direction. The timelines added up. The possibilities aligned almost too neatly. Yet, Steve knew better than to call something fact without proof. That's where Rafa came in. Rafa, listening carefully, wasn't ready to accept the idea outright. He leaned back in his chair, rubbing his chin thoughtfully, and admitted that while Steve's reasoning sounded convincing, suspicion alone wasn't enough to go on. Evidence would be needed. Solid, undeniable proof. A dangerous request. This is when Steve made his bold request. He leaned forward, lowering his voice even further, as though the walls of his office might sprout ears at any moment. "I need you to get DNA from baby Tesoro," Steve said plainly. It wasn't a suggestion, and it wasn't casual. This was the kind of task that carried weight, risk, and consequences. In Salem, DNA tests have unraveled marriages, exposed affairs, and turned lives upside down more times than anyone can count. For Steve to take this step meant he was convinced the stakes were high enough to risk everything. Rafa didn't flinch. The years of friendship, the countless battles fought side by side, meant he knew when Steve was serious. He gave a firm nod, signaling that he understood the gravity of what was being asked. "Done and done," Rafa replied, his voice steady and resolute. The bigger picture. For those watching at home, the implications of this scene stretch far beyond Steve and Rafe's office. If Tate is truly baby Tesoro's father, it will rock the Black family to its core. Brady, who has already carried the weight of countless heartbreaks and betrayals, would find himself caught between loyalty to his son and the shocking truth of his grandchild's existence. And what about Tate? The young man has had his fair share of struggles, and learning that he's a father, especially in such a complicated situation, could change the course of his life forever. The question is not just whether he is the father, but whether he's ready to shoulder the responsibilities that come with the role. Baby Tesoro, too, stands at the center of a storm she has no say in. Her future, her place in Salem's tangled web of families, hinges on the result of a DNA test. Why Steve can't let it go. Steve Johnson has always been a man who trusts his instincts. Time and again, his gut has led him to uncover truths that others missed or ignored. In this case, his instincts are telling him that something is not right, that baby Tesoro's story is hiding a secret that must be revealed before it's too late. As Steve explained to Rafa, it wasn't just about suspicion. It was about the bigger picture, protecting the people he cares about, shielding them from deceit, and bringing the truth to light, no matter how painful it may be. What comes next? With Rafa on board, the wheels are already in motion. The hunt for baby Tesoro's DNA will not be easy, nor will it be without risks. If word gets out about what Steve and Rafa are attempting, it could create a scandal of epic proportions. Families could be torn apart, trust could be shattered, and yet, for Steve, there is no turning back. The truth matters more than the cost.